Hey guys, I gotta do another talking head video. These videos aren't my style, but you know, I'm doing something else to try. So, anyways, today's topic is Facebook dating, excuse me. Is it worth it or not? I think it is worth it. If I've been on Facebook dating for about 3-4 years now, and I've had 2.5 successful matches. I say 2.5 because one of them was a match, and she ended up moving out of town. Yeah, and she ended up moving out of town. We just didn't get up. We didn't get along. So it was too bad. The second person I matched with, we were together for 8 months. Excuse me. Got off work today, and I'm pretty tired. Anyway, we first one, her name was Mariah. She was alright. She ended up moving to Newport News, and it was like she moved out of town. I was like, that was it. Like, I'm not driving to Newport News to see some girl. So we dated for about a month, and it was like, it was alright. Second girl, Kalia, she's been pretty good. I dated her for 8 months. She was quite something. She was very pretty, like kind of a model body, you know. Looked very good, you know, from the outside, but was very broken on the inside. She was, which, you know, I was surprised. I was like, I found this good-looking girlfriend, and it's like, she's just not the person I thought she would be, you know. So I was like, it's interesting. So, she ended up being pretty toxic. We did date for 8 months, which is not a year, but, you know, it's 8 months is dating someone, it's a long time to deal with a toxic person. She was emotionally unstable. I felt like she definitely needed to work on herself and kind of heal. Definitely not healed from whatever she had. Anxiety, terrible anxiety. She would have crying fits every weekend, pretty much, for 8 months. It was not fun. And yeah, that was like my first real like relationship that I felt like I had. And all thanks because Facebook dating. I felt like she was a good learning experience, and it wasn't a successful relationship, but it was a good like starter set, kind of like baseline to find out like how good I could be in a relationship. We saw each other every single weekend because she couldn't stand being away from me. That was a little bit annoying, making time for every weekend. She tried to take me away from my hobbies, and I'm like, nah, like, if you're not gonna do that, you know. She was like, keep playing when I wanted a disc golf trip. I love disc golfing. She was like, don't go on the trip, see me instead. I'm like, no, I'm not taking you with you, and, you know, you're not independent as me. Like, I'm fiercely independent. I drive, I work, I do everything myself. I don't need anyone's help for anything. Like, that's how I was raised. And she was like, oh, do this for me, oh, do that for me, kind of needy, and was very needy, and was like, oh, I need this, you know. She ended up kind of draining my bank account. She was not financially stable, she did not have her own job. She was like, oh, buy this for me. And the funny thing is, when we first started dating in the first, like, 3 months, she had some pocket change, we'll call it. Yeah, she had some pocket change. It was like, oh, I'll pay this for you every now and then. But as I got to know her after that kind of 4-month break, it was like, you know, geez, you know, after you get to know a person that past a certain amount of point, you get this, then they really show their flaws. So it's like, just had to stick it out long enough to find out what was wrong with her. Her parents were not supportive of our interracial relationship, and that was very bad. I believe in fair and equality, and it was like, she was coming to my house all the time, and I was tired of having her over. My parents were too. And then I want to say, I know my wording I want to use, but it's not correct. We kind of had a pregnancy scare, but it wasn't a legit pregnancy scare, because we were having relations, and my parents found out, and they didn't think I was into that, and I'm like, definitely into that, so, like, and her parents found out, and her parents freaked out. It was like, oh, actually, her parents didn't care. Her parents didn't care. It's like, oh, you know, have kids, you know, trap this man in your relationship. Very supportive of her having kids, and, like, you know, give us grandbabies, and I was like, you know, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not financially stable, and I'm not ready to settle down like that yet. She couldn't make up her mind. And my parents did not agree. My parents were like, oh, big kind of scare, very anti, like, kids. Probably because I'm so young. I was like, oh, you gotta get, either you gotta get surgery to get your, what is it called? Surgery to get your, vasectomy, is the medical term. You get a vasectomy, or just go on a birth control. And I persuaded her to do on birth control. She eventually did, but only after we broke up. She was very emotionally unstable, with, you know, rage, crying, even hit me a couple times, out of anger. A lot of, like, angry outbursts, and it was not a good relationship. So I'm glad I left that behind. It was definitely a learning. I learned a lot from the relationship, and I learned what to look for, and it was like, it was not a good start, because I'd be lying if I say it was, but it was a good foundation to kind of, whatever the opposite of relationship was, that's what I was going after. And now, I'm in a relationship now, again, Facebook dating. Her name is Carissa. We've been dating for 5 months-ish. I'm sure she'll see this and be like, you've been dating for this long. You know, girls, and talking their shit. Anyway, the funny thing was, when I was dating Qualia, before I asked Qualia out, Carissa and me had matched on Facebook dating, and I was like, oh, you know, hey, what's going on? Slid into her DMs, and I was like, chill. And she was like, nah, fam, like, I'm not into you. You're not my type. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'll move along. I remember it. She probably doesn't remember, but I definitely remember it. She was like, no, you're cool, like, kind of friend zone me, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. She was a stalker. She silently stalked me during my relationship with Qualia, and we were together last night, and she was like, oh, I noticed when you posted it with your Qualia, and I was like, no, you didn't. Like, you didn't like any of shit. And she's like, yeah, I did. And I'm like, yeah, I would have known. I know. I watched every like come in. I notified everything about it, and you did not show up. But she doesn't have problems, from what I can tell. She's much better. Carissa, we met on Facebook dating. Initially, she friend zoned me, and then we went like one date, and then she was like, nah, I'm cool. She friend zoned me again. And it was, the second time it was because her sister. She has like 2 families, parents are divorced. Her family in Virginia was like, oh, he's not the right guy for you. And I'm like, oh, that's fine, you know, I'll just move on. I've been rejected a lot, I'm used to it. I'm like, whatever, moving on. And then she goes to Maryland, and her mom's side of the family was like, oh, yeah, like, give him a chance, he seems good. So we went on for 3 dates, and we had a good time. Each date was a little bit different, so that was interesting. I thought we went well. The only kind of red flag I saw was that she was a cutter. She cut herself. But I'm like, you know, and then she tried to lie about it. She was like, oh, my cat scratched me, and I'm like, no. I know what cuts look like. You know, I'm not stupid. You're not gonna fool me. And I called her on that. I was like, you know, that's not a cat scratch. I know things when I see them, and because the reason I knew it was because I'm a former first responder, so like I saw injuries like that, and it was like cutting and stuff like that. Like I know what things look like versus what people lie, and can lie to your face and you won't even know. But I confronted her. I'm like, yeah, that's not. Cats don't scratch like that. I know. I've seen cats and how they scratch, and we had a pet cat for a while, and he scratched like trees and stuff. And I know how a cat scratch looks, and that's not like a cat scratch. So I called her out on bullshit, and she was like, yeah, I did. I was hurt back then, and I'm better now. I'm like, good for you. She was very about getting emotionally stable, which I was very into. I haven't been with someone that's that goal-oriented, and I thought that was very nice. She was very nice. She's pretty tall. She's like 6'1". She claims she's a little bit shorter than that, but to me, she looks like 6'3", because, you know, being a tall person is tall. But she says she's 6'1". Anyway, yeah, we've been together a while. I hope this is going to be a success story. I honestly don't know. I do know that in my relationship with Leah, every time our relationship got tested, she would give up. And our relationship with Chrisia, every time our relationship got tested, we have bounced back incredibly. We found a way to compromise and work through our issues. So that's a really big benefit. Whereas in previous relationships, I've had problems or arguments, or because you can have a good relationship, but just not have a good. Every time you get in a bad situation, that tests your friendship relationship. So that was a good thing, you know. That I do. As I get to know the person, as I start to trust them, I do start to like kind of put them to the test, like. Maybe make them angry, or, you know, maybe I'll find a topic that they have an opinion on and try to argue about it, because I want to kind of see how they react. Mainly because I don't trust the person. Once I get to trust the person, it's different. I won't into that stuff, but it's like, kind of testing the boundaries, kind of see, like, how far can I go before this person, like, breaks. It's honestly not a good thing on my side, but it's a way I can get to know people without asking. Because sometimes I feel uncomfortable asking about certain stuff. You know, every person has their comfortable limits, and some stuff I don't feel like asking about. I feel like I'll get an automated response, not a genuine response. So, yeah, I feel like I've had a good relationship so far with her, and I'm looking forward to the future with her. So, yeah, that's my experience on Facebook dating so far. I've had a great time. Hopefully things will work out with me and her. Yeah, that's been my success story in Facebook dating. So far. So far, so good. Anyway, guys. Chat with you later. Bye.